What's up everyone, this is Trendkill Toys and I'm back yet again with another video, and this time I'm taking a look at the MOTU Masterverse Grizzlor figure. And this is another really cool figure from the Masterverse line. Like I mentioned in the previous review, really looking forward to the figures coming out because this is updated articulation. It feels a lot better. The ankles are much more improved than the older releases, and the upper torso articulation, they finally fixed it. You can finally do a full 360. And so like I said, this figure is really cool. There's not really much of a gimmick to this figure. I guess the fur or the fabric, the selling point of this figure, or that's the gimmick, the feature for this figure. And I think they pulled it off pretty good. I don't really have any problems with this figure, so this review might go a little bit quicker than the last review. Following the pattern of the previous review, I'll be taking a look at the details, the paint work, the sculpt work, then the articulation, the accessories, and then I'll give my final thoughts on the figure and some comparisons and head swaps, obviously. So without wasting any more time, I'm just going to get into the figure. So the head sculpt came out really well. I like the brown wash they went over the face, or a light brown color, and they gave it a brown wash over that. One thing that is missing from this figure, I think, is a darker wash on the fur, or if they would have done a black dry brush over the fur to make it look like hair. But I believe in the She-Ra cartoon, which this character is from, I believe in that cartoon he just had something that's like closer to bare skin than actually fur. But going back to the original figure, I think that figure had sculpted hair. But I really like the way this figure looks. I like the paintwork and the detail. You can see the bats on the boots are painted okay. I mean, it's not perfect. This is, again, the $25 price range, so you can't expect perfection. Even with figures that are more expensive, they don't always hit the mark. But, you know, for $25, they did a pretty good job with the paint. The sculpt of the face is really good. Even the teeth came out good, and the painting on the mouth is also really good. And then, of course, you have the fur, and this is kind of the gimmick of the figure, or the feature of the figure, which is that it has real fur, and it's done as good as you'd expect it to be. And really, they couldn't have done any better. One complaint though is that it does shed, which is unfortunate, but mostly it comes off when you're taking the head off, which I'll show you. I'm going to take everything off, show you the bare body, and they'll go over the articulation. So here's what he looks like with his extra hair accessory off. Right now I'm going to go over articulation. So the head articulation is actually hindered by the hair sculpt, which again, you get a better look at it here, which was done very nicely. I really like the way that that turned out. But it is hindered a little bit. You can't really look up, and it's hindered even more once you have the hair pelt on. There might be some ways to get a little bit more extra range out of it. For example, you could shave some of the plastic down on the back of the hair there, or you could actually seat the head higher on the ball joint. It's not too bad. You know, it could have been a little bit better, but yeah, you can't really look side to side at full 360. The hair is going to run into the body. You know, same thing going both ways. He looks down that far, not too bad. He's not going to look up at all. Minimal tilt, pretty much nothing. Shoulders work as you'd expect, and they rotate full 360. The bicep swivel, and this has the armband, the black armband with the red bat symbol that does run into the body here, so that does kind of hinder it from going flat on his side like this one, like this arm does. But that's okay, it is removable, so if you want to take it off, put it on another figure. That works. The bicep swivel works as a swivel. The double elbows, so that works really good. You got the swivel on the wrist and the hinge. And then we get to the torso, which, like I mentioned before, he can finally do a full 360, and that's what they're doing with the new bodies moving forward. A lot more range going back and forward, and also side to side, way more than previous releases. And then you always got the classic swivel at the lower torso. And again, like I mentioned before, on the Many Faces figure, and I guess for other figures in this line as well, the lower torso sculpt does not match with the belt sculpt on the bottom there. So as you can see, the belt is hanging over the actual lower torso sculpt. So a little unfortunate. They could have lined it up a little bit better. It's not that big of a deal. And then we have the fur here, which is actually a softer plastic. It does not hinder the articulation at all. He does raise his leg about that far up, which is decent, and it goes out really far. You can pretty much do the splits like that. That's pretty good. Swivel, can't really go back that much, but the swivel works as you'd expect. Double knees, the boot sculpt. Top of the boot sculpt does run into the back of the thigh, so that's going to hinder it from going further, but it's not too bad. Boot swivel, which works as you'd expect. And the ankles, like I said, they've improved them. They're not as gummy, and the joint is not as flexible. It's a little bit more durable than before, so that's a nice improvement. A little bit of pivot from that, but mostly you're going to get the rotation and the hinge, which works pretty good and does help to stand the figure and put it in different poses. So like I said, really good figure, looks really good. A little bit more paint would have brought this figure up to that next level, but overall, it's really not that bad. Now we'll take a look at the accessories. He does come with 2 extra hands, another grip hand for his left hand, and then a right fist. Right now he has on his right grip hand, and kind of a scratching or clawing hand. And then he also comes with his bow, and this is very reminiscent of Hordak's bow, except it was a different color, but that turned out pretty cool. And then we do get his axe, and you see the Horde symbol in the middle of the axe on both sides. There are some scratches and weathering put on the axe to give it a more realistic look, so I do appreciate them doing that. I would have preferred if the Horde symbol was painted red. And like I said earlier, his armband is removable. You can put that on different figures. You can even put it on his head. And then his fur, which of course can go on other figures. I'm not sure which way it's supposed to go, but one side is a bit longer than the other. So I think you want to put the longer side on the front and the shorter side on the back. That's up to you and depending on what look you want to go for. And last thing he comes with is his harness or his chest armor, which does go over the fur piece, but we're going to put some different things on him. We're going to put this on some of the figures and see what that looks like. So here's what He-Man's head looks on the Grizzlor body. Looks kind of funny. And here's what Grizzlor's head looks on He-Man's body. This also looks pretty funny. This is like if Grizzlor shaved all his hair off. And here's He-Man with the fur. This actually looks pretty cool. And here's what it looks like with the He-Man harness on top of that. That looks really cool. A lot of potential there. It doesn't close all the way because the fur gets in the way, but I think it looks pretty cool and definitely a lot of potential. Here it is on the Barbarian Batman body. So that also looks pretty cool with the Grizzlor head, or I like to put this head on it. I think that looks pretty cool, so that kind of brings the overall look together. And yeah, that looks really awesome. It also fits on a Marvel Legends Hulk figure, so that's pretty cool. You could do like a custom Barbarian Hulk. So again, a lot of potential here for customs and just a lot of options that you can use this for. And now I'm going to try it on the Patriot Studios Liquor figure. So this was something that I just thought of. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's see what it looks like with the harness over that. Now this is like a Horde zombie. You know, Hordak is now using zombies in his army. That's a pretty cool idea. And if you're wondering how it looks on a female figure, here it is on the Katra figure. That looks kind of interesting, I guess. Not as cool as I expected it, but definitely you can change some things here and there and make it look a lot better. And here it is on a custom demon from Doom that I made. It's supposed to be like a Baron of Hell or a Hell Knight, but instead of the usual game colors, he's all black. So I think this looks pretty cool. He probably needs some more fur around his body to bring the whole look together, but that doesn't look too bad. Here he is with all his stuff put on him, and now we'll do some size comparisons. So here he is next to, of course, next to He-Man, and he's about the same height. Here he is next to the custom Batman Barbarian. And here he is next to the Marvel Legends Psylocke figure that was recently released in the 3-pack. So obviously he's going to scale a lot bigger than regular Marvel Legends figures. Here he is next to a Kotobukiya model kit, and this is my favorite one out of the ones that I have. Here he is next to Iron Man, Mattel Ultimate Edition Andre the Giant. And I know when you saw Andre the Giant, you were wondering what the Grizzlor gear looks like on it. And that's what that looks like. So, pretty cool. And there's what that looks like. And here he is finally next to his Horde compatriots. Like I've been saying, this figure is pretty cool. It's very fun to play with and to swap the parts on it, do some head swaps and stuff like that. And really, that's all I'm looking for in a figure. And to me, that's what makes a figure good. You can buy a figure, spend a lot on it, and you just put it on a shelf and display it. That doesn't seem like a good deal to me. So I'm very happy buying these $25 figures and having a lot of fun with them. To me, I get more value out of that than just putting on a shelf. But let me know what you guys think about that. Anyways, guys, that's all I got to say. Let me know what you think. And again, got more reviews coming every other day. So subscribe so you don't miss them. And that's all I got to say. I'll see you guys in the next one.